A few years ago, buying a fake bag was like kind of embarrassing. And people hid their dupes like their lives depended on it. You definitely wouldn't see a TikTok titled, "Come with me while I go buy a $10 jelly firkin." But also a few years ago, those combination of words just could not be strung together. My point is, somewhere, somehow, buying the cheaper version of things became the flex. I spent 3 years as a retail stylist, watching people decide what to buy in real time, and now I work in marketing. So the shift is something that I've watched happen from both sides of the counter. And here's my actual thesis, because I don't think this is just about things being expensive. It isn't about fake or real bags. It's about who gets to decide what is impressive. And right now, that power is in the hands of the consumer, not the creator. Historically, luxury has never been about the product. It's been about what the product represents. If you bought a Chanel bag 30 years ago, you weren't buying leather. You were buying a reputation and, most importantly, a feeling. The average person had no way to question it. It's not like you could whip out a phone and see where it was made. Luxury brands control the information, and when one side controls the information, they control the narrative. This is called information asymmetry. Luxury brands knew exactly how their products were made. Consumers didn't. And when you don't know how something is made, you tend to trust the story you're told. Luxury wasn't just selling products, it was selling certainty. And then TikTok happened, and everybody started breaking down luxury markups, sourcing factories, and comparing materials. Reverse image searching products became a really big thing. These companies were ripped to shreds. And I want to be careful here because not every luxury manufacturing TikTok that you see is accurate, and sometimes it's not the same sweatshop where these items are being made. But my point still stands because that isn't the point. My point is that the perception of these luxury brands has changed. And people started asking a question they would have never asked before, which is, wait, what am I actually paying for? Because once people started to believe that a luxury bag only costed a fraction of its price to produce, luxury didn't become bad, it just became explainable. And luxury has always kind of relied on mystery. And this is where people get the story wrong, because I think a lot of them say, oh, we all love dupes because we're broke. And sure, the economy is definitely a part of it, but that is not the whole truth. If it was just about saving money, why would people be proudly showing themselves buying dupes and doing these dupe hauls? And why do these hauls have millions of views? Why does save your money content do so well right now? Because buying a dupe isn't framed as settling anymore, it's framed as smart and financially literate and resourceful. And that's a massive status shift. 10 years ago, status came from buying as much as you can and flexing as much money as you could and just spending more in general. But now it's about spending less and spending better. We see this with the rise of clean girl fashion and underconsumption and de-influencing. Oh, and of course, minimalism. It's literally become a status symbol to look like you own less. Steve Madden is fascinating. For years, people mocked Steve Madden for making shoes that looked suspiciously familiar to designer ones, and now people actually recommend it, compare it, and sometimes prefer it. And not at all because they think it's identical, it's because they don't think the difference justifies the price.
Not only are we in dupe culture, but they want what they see on TikTok and all of that kind of thing. I mean, you understand.
Also, looking expensive has replaced being expensive. And the whole quiet luxury trend actually made this kind of easier because when brands stopped having to plaster giant logos on things and only had to worry about actually making a good product, it made it so the gap between what was luxury and what was not luxury a lot harder to see. So the question stopped being, is it designer, and more so started being, can anyone even tell? The culture is really starting to move away from name brand items and more towards quality products, which is great. In psychology, we call this signaling. We use products to communicate things about ourselves, like success, taste, wealth, creativity, and identity. But signals can only work if other people can recognize them. And social media kind of changes which signals people admire. People still perform status. We probably always will. We're social creatures. But the difference now is that status isn't just about money anymore. It's about knowledge. Knowing the quality of your dupe matches up to the quality of the original item is really valuable. It signals that you still have taste without having to spend so much money. It's almost like thrifting in the sense where the discovery part becomes the value because you didn't just buy the dupe, you proved that you were smart enough to source and find it. Luxury items may have lost their monopoly status, but status itself has not gone anywhere. It's just changed shapes. So, do I think luxury is dying? Definitely not. I think people will always have a love for beautiful things, but the power has definitely shifted. Luxury brands no longer control the narrative because their consumers have more information. more opinions, more alternatives, and more transparency than they have ever had. And that forces these luxury brands to answer a question they've never had to answer before. Because if everybody knows or thinks they know how much their product is worth, then what are they actually paying for? Maybe exclusivity, but whatever the answer is, it can't be a secret anymore. And I think that's why the girls are buying dupes, because it's just not as appealing to spend a lot more money for something when you already know everything that went along behind the scenes. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Let me know if there's any dupes that you would defend with your life. Mine personally is the Isabel Marant wedge heel from Steve Madden, and also the Tabbies are super cute too.